Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the UST Max Center for this quarter's Lunch and Learn. My name is Dr. Carla Alcindor, and I'm the director here at the UST Max Center, and it's our pleasure to have you all here with us today. It's great seeing a full house, and this is a really exciting topic to cover here at the beginning of a new year. So very, very glad you're all here. I'd like to introduce to you today's speaker, Ms. Nathalie Sessions. She is founder and owner of Nutrition Sessions, LLC. Oh. Nathalie Sessions is a registered and licensed dietitian and Nutrition Life Master Certified Nutrition and Wellness Coach. As a seasoned wellness dietitian and health coach, Nathalie's mission is to empower your eating and lifestyle so you live your most nutritious life for years to come, without compromising taste and enjoyment. She teaches and inspires busy professionals how to maximize energy, improve health, and optimize wellness by simplifying eating for healthy aging. Nathalie holds a Bachelor of Science in Nutrition and Foods from Texas State University and a Bachelor of Business Administration from University of St. Thomas. She completed her dietetic internship at University of Houston. Celebrating more than a decade as a registered dietitian within healthcare facilities, most recently for one of the larger ones at the Texas Medical Center, Nathalie recently launched Nutrition Sessions, LLC. She launched that in 2022 and provides personalized solutions that fit individual goals and lifestyles. So it's my pleasure to welcome one of UST's own, Nathalie Sessions.
Yay, thank you so much. Thanks, Carla. Well, it's my total absolute pleasure to be with all of you today. I really appreciate, I'll probably be taking my glasses off and on, just so you know. So just a quick official disclaimer, what I'm sharing with you today, I'm not giving you one-on-one personal advice. This is for educational purposes. That's the short of it. There's some more verbiage there. But just so we're all on the same page, this is an educational seminar. All right, so in our brief time together, I'm going to share with you what we can call the energy formula. I'm going to share, of course, some strategies to elevate your plate to tie in with our title today. Like I said, if we have a chance, I'd love to do a quick group activity, put your learning into action, and then I have a special invitation in Q&A. So just a little background, about, I guess I cut that slide out. Okay, so I'm going to propose to you here, even sharing in the introductions here, if you're not aware, we make so many different food decisions every day, right? It's estimated that we make over 200 decisions a day about which ones, how much, when, where, all of it, even if you don't realize it. So what I see in my work is people are pretty stressed out about this and overwhelmed and confused because there's so much information out there. It's like, what do I believe? What do I do? Is this really healthy? All of that. So I spend a lot of my time demystifying things for people. Again, if we kind of lean in and have what we might call gentle nutrition for ourselves and really embrace what I'll call the principles of intuitive eating, this can really help us navigate what could be aspects of what are like a toxic food environment, because food is everywhere all the time, everywhere we go. So some reasons you might want to consider consulting with a dietitian, whether it be me or someone else. I won't read this list to you, but anything from just wanting to just be abreast and educated about, general nutrition practices, or you're dealing with a particular health condition. Can everyone see the slides okay? Am I not blocking anything? Okay. You just want some practical lifestyle advice. There are a number of different reasons why you might want to consider that. Prevention of disease, even dietitians that specialize in management, of disease, the nutrition piece of that. So just wanted to share that. And a question I get a lot, and I thought I'd taken advantage of the opportunity to educate if you're not familiar, really quickly, a registered dietitian is not the same thing as a nutritionist. Nutritionist, anyone, you could go to this seminar today and then call yourself a nutritionist. That's not regulated, versus a dietitian, which we go through multiple layers of training and education. We're certified. We have to do continuing ed to maintain our license and jump through a lot of hoops to do what we do. So every dietitian is a nutritionist, but not every nutritionist is a dietitian. So just be savvy about that. All right, so as you enjoy your lunch, I just want you to think for a moment about your own eating, and is the way in which you're eating really supporting your own desires? And what I mean by that is, there are a number of things, I'm a little biased, but nutrition really is the foundation of so much. Our health status, as you mentioned, like immunity and so forth. So we're all motivated by different reasons. Maybe we want to, have more energy. I get that one a lot. Or we want to be around to enjoy our hobbies and travel, or as we move toward retirement, or, all kinds of things. There's no wrong answer here. Just want to, have you get in that mindset of, where are you in terms of investing in your own self-care, and especially in the area of eating and nutrition? And ultimately, hopefully saving you, investing now to hopefully save later in terms of healthcare costs and so forth. All right, so I mentioned that I was going to share what I'm calling the energy formula. I'll just get a little sciencey on you here for a moment. But what chemistry tells us is that this is the recipe for energy. So it's really water plus oxygen plus glucose. So every cell in the brain, in the body, is heavily dependent on water. And then oxygen is used, to make more energy. It's part of the whole equation, as well as glucose, which again is needed by all of our cells to fuel us. It's really our source of energy, and we'll talk a little more about it. And what that yields is something called ATP, adenosine triphosphate, for any science buffs in the room. But really, this is just what it says here. I know it might be difficult to see. This is the energy from our food that we extract, and it's present in all living cells. So the only way we can get, it's really the only way we can get energy from our food. And I don't focus a lot on calories in my practice. We try not to focus on that. We focus on eating and foods, but just for terminology purposes, a calorie would be a measure of that energy. Okay? So it's mentioned that, water is so vital. So one of my top tips that I could ever give is actually not really about food, but just to emphasize all of the various functions that water performs in our body. So not wanting to deprive ourselves of staying well hydrated. We could go days without eating. I don't recommend that, but that's not the case for water. So every system in our body, every body system, every cell, brain, body, like I mentioned, is heavily dependent on water. So making sure that you are adequately hydrated is very important. A lot of people, I don't know if any of you in here do, but a lot of my clients struggle with this. Like, yeah, I know I don't get enough water. So whatever, developing a system that works for you, I usually say try, first thing in the morning, after you wake up, have a glass. And then just throughout the day, spacing it out, finding a system that works for you throughout the day. So we also mentioned there in that energy formula that glucose is the fuel for the body. It is the preferred source of fuel for it. And guess what? It comes from carbohydrates. So I know that's a very controversial topic sometimes, but this is part of why I want to mention this. So all of our cells need it. Cells, organs, brain, muscles, etc. And it's what fuels our metabolism. And you mentioned our metabolism does change based on a lot of different factors as we age. Different variety of things influence that. So glucose comes from the food we eat. So especially our carbohydrate sources, of course, are going to be the primary source of that. It's broken down into what are called sugars, and it goes from there. So the best tip I can give you here on this is to eat consistently throughout the day. Make sure your tank is full throughout the day, have a consistent, to keep your blood glucose stable. throughout, and that's going to help with your energy as well. So checking those two things first. All right. So really quick, a little Nutrition 101 lesson, just super quick, just so we all have this framework. Carbs, carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water are the six major nutrients. And carbohydrates, again, we've talked about already, fuel the body, so do fats. Proteins more serve the primary function of building the body. They're the building blocks. Vitamins and minerals help with the maintenance phase, if you will, maintaining body systems in the body. And then we've talked too about the importance of water in lubrication. So to operate, we need all of these different nutrients. All right, so I don't mean to harp a lot on this carbohydrate thing, but so many questions come up about that, and we are talking about energy today. So you could pay attention and see, depending on where you are with the food sources of carbohydrates, there are different types, but these are going to include things like whole grains, vegetables, fruits, beans, nuts, more simple versions of them. My rule is nothing, there are really no food rules. Everything is acceptable in our eating, but the more simple ones that are going to metabolize much more quickly are your simple ones, which are traditionally things like your sweets and refined grains, etc. So if y'all have any questions about that, please let me know. So I mentioned too that it's really important. We want to stabilize our energy, maintaining that consistent energy throughout the day. If you're having these dips in energy, first say, have I had enough water, and have I been eating consistently, or have I gone too long without eating? Okay, so these are just some basics, but sometimes we just need to get back to the basics. All right, so to continue on, I'll just pause really quickly. Any questions so far about anything? This is just fairly, okay. So as far as some specific strategies to elevate your plate, our theme for today is, I really want to invite you to unlock this all foods fit. So we are in a really extreme diet culture. And so while there are different nutritional values, to different types of food, it's important to note that this doesn't reflect your own personal value if you choose to eat, different types of food. So really a way to elevate your plate is by going for variety, moderation, and balance. That we don't need to restrict things, that we get, as Carla shared in the beginning, a big approach I have is that we need to regain that pleasure of eating. That's really been lost by a lot of individuals. And so we want to really not label foods as good or bad. And it's so hard to do because that's just the way we tend to talk about food. Or things that are forbidden and so forth. So I just want to invite you to have a little bit of a mindset shift if you're not already there. Does this make sense? In terms of kind of a little bit of a different way of thinking about it. So variety is going to help you broaden your scope of nutrients that you take in by consuming a variety of foods, as well as improve your satisfaction. So if you're feeling like bored or anything like that, the variety is going to help with that, not always just eating the same thing over and over again. Moderation is this concept of just all foods fit. We can enjoy all kinds of different things, just how much and how often is what can vary there. And balance, again, not necessarily being focused on, oh my goodness, at this meal I have to have, all of these components, but over a day's time or a week's time, did we get all of the, components in there that we want. So having that be creating a little bit less stress there. All right, so I know I just said, you don't necessarily have to worry about one plate, but if we are kind of thinking of the composure of our meals, then, it's a good practice to include protein, fat, and fiber in all of your meals whenever possible. So today's meal is a good example of that. So I'm going to test your knowledge. Okay, what are our protein? What was our protein option at lunch today?
Eggs.
Eggs and chicken. Yes, perfect. And then fat, where was fat on our little buffet out there? Avocado, and I didn't hear some of the dressing, yeah, the oil. I saw some bacon on there too. That's gonna boost the satisfaction for some folks, yeah. And then fiber, where are we getting fiber in our lunch today?
Spinach.
The spinach, all the veggies that are out there. I don't know if there were beans. Okay, well, that's fine, yeah, okay. Bread, so we got, yeah, so, yeah, so you get the idea here, right? We're building our plate, we're elevating by, considering all things. And then, there's a tremendous amount of research about plant-based eating. Yes, ma'am?
What do you consider healthy treats?
Oh, that can look different for everyone. It depends what brings you pleasure and, what's going to be satisfying to you, what I consider a treat may be very different from what you consider a treat. So I think that really varies from person to person. Okay. Yeah. So what we call plant-focused eating, plant-powered eating. It doesn't mean we have to all be vegetarian. That's not what that's about. But so much research in the area of cancer, in the area of really just overall health and well-being. Literally on a daily basis, articles come across my desk, and if you really dig down and you look, it's all about, plant-based eating in so many ways, heart health, everything, building our immune system and so forth. So lots and lots of benefits, and most Americans are not getting enough vegetables. So really, to elevate your plate, it's about getting enough, make sure you are getting enough vegetables in your eating plan. And so if this is a challenge for you, I know that this is just a quotation I'm sharing, to change our eating habits, we must learn to eat mindfully, being more aware of chewing and tasting what we eat so that the brain can register the incoming nutrients. So this covers a lot. I love this quote because digestion begins in the mouth. Your stomach doesn't have teeth. So chewing is very important. I know that might sound so silly, but it also starts in the mouth as far as our sensation and pleasure with food. We like all the different textures and everything. So really, if you're a fast eater, like most of my clients are, just thinking about, yeah, I see Brenda in the back going, wee. So not making anyone feel guilty here at all, but chew your food, enjoy, and being as mindful as possible. So the second tip I'm sharing today about elevating your plate is if this fits for you, slowing down and savoring the flavor, for these reasons that we've been talking about today. The majority of the population eats very quickly. There's been some research that people are taking only like 11 minutes. So I get it. We're all busy professionals, a lot of us are, and sometimes we just don't have the time. But if you can, even if it is only for 10 minutes, sit in peace if you can. It doesn't mean you can't be social or be eating with anyone else, but still kind of adapting and seeing where you are. Can you slow down and chew? Ideally, you might try the 20-20 rule. So chewing each bite of your food for about 20 times and giving yourself about 20 minutes. So why 20 minutes? Because for the brain and the gut to communicate and get in sync with each other, it takes that amount of time for those to register. So just something there to help you recognize your fullness, and again, boost your satisfaction, and then ripple effect will help boost your energy as well. So a tool, has anyone ever been introduced to a hunger scale or hunger quotient or anything? Some yeses, mostly no's, it looks like. But this is a really useful tool that you could use to help you with what I've been talking about today, to help you check in with your hunger before you're eating, while you're eating. And the most pleasant space to be in is in the green numbers, 3 to 7. But anything before that, again, I'm sorry about the type being a little small, but primal hunger, you're ravenous, you're hangry, you're like, don't even talk to me until I eat, nobody wants to be around you. We've waited too long. We've gone too long without eating there. Here, I love this, a polite hunger. I'm hungry, but it's not urgent. I'm open to eating different foods. I'm not fixated on having I must have this, one food. It's you're kind of in a neutral state. It feels, you feel full, but you're comfortable, you're not uncomfortable. And then beyond 7 and the 8, 9, and 10, you go from unpleasantly full to even feeling sick. Oops, I call it Thanksgiving, but so thinking about a tool like this again can be super helpful to help you check in and follow. We're all born as intuitive eaters, meaning knowing how much and when we need to eat. Somehow it gets lost as we get older. Toddlers are a really good example of intuitive eaters. So kind of seeing if we can get ourselves back to that. So eating, again, if I can't drive home any other message today, it's that it's meant to be nourishing and pleasurable. And I know the science tells us that, and so does my French and Italian heritage. So, we're meant to really enjoy our food and not deprive ourselves of that while we're eating. So many of you are on the go. Yes, we're busy. We got a lot going on. We're active people. So I was asked to share how can we elevate our plate on the go. And I'm happy if you want to take a picture of this particular slide. If that was helpful to you, that's fine. But eating out, I've got some strategies there. Really applying the same principles. Can you be the one to choose where you go out to eat, knowing there's a wide variety available, and protein, fat, and fibers, the same thing that we talked about earlier. Being savvy about what different terms mean on menus. So if you are wanting to be more conscientious, baked, braised, broiled, poached, roasted, steamed, those are all good indicators versus, smothered, or, that's kind of a red flag. But again, all foods fit. So maybe it's, you want to have that. And again, fitting in the vegetables and, wherever can you add those in? If you're having a sandwich, can you add veggies to it, etc. You could store some perishable items. If you don't have that luxury, you can do things that don't require refrigeration, certain whole fruits, whole grain crackers, etc. Nut butters, nuts are great as well. Supermarkets are really full of lots of option these days. So, taking a look there and seeing if you can build a lunch that way with the same principles we're talking about. And then do like me. You rarely will find me not with something in my bag, just in case, or I'm thinking about my day. Am I going to need a snack? Do I need to pack a little bar or something with me, and water, etc.? So just being proactive. Does that help? Yeah. Okay. Anyone in here a company manager or leadership role in your organization or anything like that? Okay, so I might not spend too much time here, but in terms of promoting it in the workplace, do you really need to serve food at a meeting, or, just thinking about if it's absolutely necessary. And really the bottom line here is just to be a role model if you are in any kind of leadership role with an organization, to think about the work environment and what is made available, and so forth. So if you need more tips on that, we can talk, but it sounds like that's not really relevant for us today. And then in addition to everything else that we've talked about today, of course, our health and wellness is very much, 80 to 90% is influenced by what we eat. But of course, there are other things to consider that might be affecting your or how you eat, what's affecting the way you're eating. And your energy and your productivity are also going to be influenced by your sleep hygiene, your stress, health conditions, medications can have side effects, and then something called digital toxicity. Is this something y'all have heard of? Have you heard this term? Okay, I love introducing you. So we live in a high-tech world, right? Digital everything, we're surrounded again, and if we're not careful, that too can be a source of, it's actually quite a high source of stress. So what we mean about digital toxicity is just taking control of the alerts on your phone and how much time you're spending on the devices, and setting a curfew for them later on. Again, if you feel like your sleep's affected, your energy, because we're talking about energy today. So even usage of our devices and the timing of the usage of those devices can impact our sleep. Again, so it's all connected. Does that make sense, what I've shared? Okay. So thinking about that. Okay, so if y'all are up for it, I want to do an activity I used to do all the time with different groups, but we'll see how it goes. So you'll pair up with at least one person. If you want to work with one other person or two other people, however you'd like to do it. And we're going to have a dinner party. Really quick, we're going to plan a dinner party, I should say, really quickly. So I'll kind of introduce it and then we'll organize ourselves. So you have found out that someone very important, you can imagine who you want this, it's a celebrity or a very important constituent, some VIP person is coming to your house for dinner. You found out that they are plant-focused, they are plant-based, and it is very important to you that you're impressing this person, okay? So each pair of you is going to brainstorm what the different courses are going to be. So one of you will be planning the appetizer, one will do the soup, one will do the entree, dessert. So we have all the different courses, and then we'll share at the end. I'm just going to give you like maybe 5 minutes or so to brainstorm. I have some cookbooks if you want to like flip through or whatever. But does that make sense? Does the instructions make sense? So it doesn't have to be a vegetarian, but it needs to be plant-focused. All right, no worries. So let's start with our appetizer course. What are we enjoying? What plant-focused appetizers are we enjoying?
We've got hummus, but you can get a lot of good flavors of hummus.
Yes,
Not
yeah.
boring anymore.
No.
So you can have that with a variety of raw veggie strips like bell peppers or tomatoes, zucchini strips,
Right.
things like that. Maybe even some whole grain crackers for something that's a little different texture.
Right.
We talked about yogurt dip and we kind of went, well, that's not plant-based, but it
it's
could
okay.
be a good little
Sure.
additional.
Yeah. You don't
Or
have to
you
be
can
limited.
get non-dairy. They have non-dairy
Yeah.
options now.
Sure.
We're both a little bit, just to preface this, a little bit on the hardcore clean eating side. So this would,
Okay.
so ours was probably a little bit more that
Oh, that's
direction.
okay.
But I mean,
Yeah.
you could do other things for an appetizer.
Sure, yeah. So just, no, that's great. So let's give them a round of applause there. So yeah, you incorporated beans and veggies, so that's great. Yeah, other things you could do, some kind of salads, but yeah, there's so many possibilities there. So let's move on to our soup course. I think that's you ladies here. So what is our soup?
It is a cozy roasted vegetable soup.
Yes, okay, I like the name. That's awesome. So what vegetables are in your roasted soup?
Carrots and parsnips. It's all roasted. It was kind of thought of her grandmother. She said made something that just put all these vegetables together.
Yeah.
And so
Bell peppers, carrots.
Excellent. Yeah, so very colorful, very cozy. Love it, love it. Yeah, I personally love soups year round. They're a great way. Or if you have a bunch of random leftover vegetables at the end of the week, you don't know what to do, make a soup. All right, so let's go to our main dish. That was this group here. So I can't wait to hear what you came up with.
We're going to have tofu meatloaf. And
Excellent.
We're going carrots and onions, celery, garlic, orange pepper. We'll grind up beans and use that as the binder.
Wonderful.
And then we're going to juice celery and tomatoes for the gravy over.
Yes, that sounds amazing. Good job. Good job. All right. Very, very good. Love it, love it. Okay, so now on what were our side dish here?
We said spaghetti squash.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be pretty. Uh-huh.
Well, shallots, dried ginger, and black pepper and cherry.
Yeah, we didn't specifically talk about, yeah, we're going to their dinner party. No, it's going to be a great, this is all one big dinner party. It's quite a feast. Yeah, herbs and spices are plants, if you think about it, and they have to endure a lot in nature, so they have very powerful nutritional benefit to us. So wonderful way to season your food, make it flavorful, which is what we're going for to boost our satisfaction and energy. All right. So it's up to the dessert course to finish us off, our sweet ending to our dinner party. What do we have there?
So we decided to put angel food cake with blueberries and strawberries.
Excellent.
With maybe some whipped cream.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah, why not? Build a little fat in there, right? That's good. That's great. Well, I think y'all did a great job. So was that, how did y'all feel about that activity? Was it kind of get you thinking and get your taste buds going? Yes. Okay, I think I'm getting the signal that we need to wrap this up. But I will be around if anyone wants to chat, and thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I hope you learned something.